Grindelwald, Westminster editor of The Lead, and Martina Bett, political correspondent at The Sun. Great to have you with us, as always. We're going to kick off with The Guardian, aren't we, Zoe? And this is Labour's plans to, well, quite a historical shake-up, potentially, of the social care arena, with new reforms that could take at least 3 years to see any results.
That's right. So Labour have announced that they are going to launch an independent commission to reform adult social care. They warn that people will be left without care unless they act quickly. This is going to be led by the crossbench peer Louise Casey. And it's going to be about developing plans for this new national care service. This was something they talked about a little bit during the general election campaign, but not very much. And as Wes Streeting, the Health Secretary, has pointed out, Labour actually received quite a lot of flack for not setting out their plans on social care. You know, they weren't very big on the NHS, but lots of experts pointed out if you don't have a properly functioning care system, it's very, very hard to talk seriously about how you're going to look at the NHS. So they say they're going to have this sort of cross-party commission to try and get this consensus on social care, because we know historically this has been a real political point of contention. But they have already received some flack for this as well, because, as you say, the final report is not expected until 2028. Well, we have an ageing population now, and the NHS needs support now. So I think some people are saying we don't need another commission, we don't need another report, we need action.
Yeah, I think it's the Chief Executive of Care England saying how many more reports do we need before action, Martina, is actually taken.
They are saying like people need care today. What are they going to do in the interim period? Because 2028 is still a long time away. By 2028, we might have another government. Who knows, given how politics goes at fast speed these days. And I think what I would say, it's worth noting that one of the first acts that Labour has done in government has been to scrap proposed care cap reforms. The 86,000 lifetime cap has been scrapped. Sir Andrew Dilnot, who was the architect of these care reforms, described it as a tragedy. So it's not... I thought it was quite interesting the way The Guardian reported it compared to The Times, I think, because The Times goes, the reforms have been pushed back again. And it is striking. The numbers are staggering. We're talking about 130,000 vacancies in social care, families selling their homes, 1 in 7 people having to pay over 100,000 to cover care costs. So it is a crisis that's been brewing for decades. Is this enough? Not sure.
Yeah, we'll put all of this to Andrew Gwynn. We're going to be speaking to him in the next hour. We'll move on for now, though, to The Times and remarkable details that we heard from that press conference, and The Times reporting on New Orleans attacker had planned to kill his own family, but felt perhaps that wouldn't receive big enough
public attention. Yeah, he basically posted videos on his social media, and it was through these videos that we found out that he had originally planned to kill his family, but said that that wouldn't get enough publicity, enough media attention, because he wanted to highlight the fight, for his radical Islamist beliefs. We had the press conference yesterday where the FBI said that it was acting alone, because there were beliefs before that he might have had an accomplice, but yesterday ruled that out. And they also said, interestingly enough, that it was 100% inspired by ISIS. And I read an interesting column in The Times yesterday, which was saying how, you know, the FBI really got this wrong by immediately saying that this was not ruling out a terrorist attacks. And the reason for that is because we know that lots of Trump allies feel that there's this, you know, enemy from within. And when the FBI gets it wrong so starkly at the beginning, you know, it could fuel those conspiracy theories, those, you know, FBI reforms, all of that.
Yeah, we're going to learn more, aren't we, in the days and the weeks that follow on this case. And, of course, the tragedy of those victims who were out celebrating the New Year, we shouldn't forget. The Daily Express now, their headline, Zoe, Kemi Badenoch, leader of the Conservative Party, inquiry into UK's rape gangs is long overdue. What is she calling for?
So Kemi Badenoch has joined calls from, believe it or not, Elon Musk after Jess Phillips replied to Oldham Council basically saying there wouldn't be a statutory government inquiry into the grooming gang scale of abuse in Oldham, and instead she said maybe this was something that Oldham Council would want to take itself. Elon Musk said Jess Phillips should be in prison and basically accused the government of trying to cover up what had happened, and now Kemi Badenoch has joined calls for a statutory inquiry. I think this is a bit of an extraordinary hypocrisy from Kemi Badenoch. The government, there was an inquiry into child sexual exploitation that was published in 2022, sorry. It was originally commissioned by Theresa May. It covered the grooming gang scandal, but it also covered the wide spectrum of sexual abuse in this country of children. And the government, which Kemi Badenoch sat on, essentially ignored this. The recommendations still haven't been enacted 2 years on. Now it seems like she is making political hay out of this. She's joining calls from Elon Musk instead of looking at the work that has already been done in this area and responding accordingly.
Yeah, we're seeing this increasingly, Martina, where the owner of X, this social media company, is throwing his weight essentially into UK politics more and more.
It's quite extraordinary that he was attacking a safeguarding minister on Twitter yesterday. Basically, it was Jess Phillips, who's the Labour MP, safeguarding minister, who refused to launch the inquiry into the historical abuse by gangs in Oldham. She said that it was a decision for the council, which is something that the Conservatives have done before. What I would say is that if there was a better political operation in the Labour government at the moment, I would have probably taken that decision out of her hands, because we know she's electorally vulnerable in her constituency. She's got a big Muslim population in her constituency, and given how suspicions and conspiracy theory, we had Elon Musk calling two-tier care again, and all of these things. So I would probably, it does provide cynicism. I would have taken it out of her hands.
Yeah, just reflecting the Daily Telegraph in comparison to the Express, they're saying Labour blocks grooming gang probe. And we'll see, won't we, whether any weight on social media is then reflected in what might happen in Parliament. And if it comes to that, it's be quite a worrying time, I suppose, in that sense. So we'll move on from that and we'll go back to The Guardian if we can. And this is down on their front page, down at the bottom, health toll on Grenfell firefighters revealed. This was a huge story, wasn't it? The impact that those firefighters then, the trauma, I suppose, of dealing with such a devastating traumatic experience themselves.
So there has been a report that's released today that basically says that a quarter of firefighters who were exposed to the toxic smoke during the Grenfell Tower now have long-term health disorders, and this is partly as a result of the immediacy of the action. They weren't able to put on proper equipment. It's just another, I think, indication of how destructive, incredibly destructive this fire was, and indeed the series of failures that led to this incident. That means that even, those who are emergency responders are now suffering really long-term impact. This includes 11 cases of cancer, 64 respiratory diseases, 22 neurological disorders, and 66 digestive illnesses. I mean, we still have in this country buildings that aren't properly, fit up for regulation. So it really does raise questions about what we're going to do to help protect emergency responders in the long term.
OK, we'll have to leave it there, Martina. Zoe, thank you for your company. We'll be back after the break.
There's always more to the news.